We were waiting for almost everyone to join. We will start. We'll try to start on time. So we will be starting in just a minute. And we are also recording this call in case some of the people are not able to join because of such a short notice. The agenda for the call is pretty much clear. We're talking about the mentorship platform here to give you little bit more understanding around how it's going to happen. And if you are a mentee, you are probably more interested in knowing what mentor have been assigned to you. So that's something also we are going to cover today. We will also be posting these mentor-mentee matches on our LinkedIn, and probably you'll receive a mail as well with your mentor in CC. That will happen over the coming days. But today you will get a glimpse of who is your mentor, and then definitely you can at least connect with them over WhatsApp since you are in one of our groups, or over LinkedIn and have a look at their profile, right? And we'll talk more about how it works and how will be your first call aligned with your mentor, and what do you can do about it. So all of that we'll be covering in this call. Hi Daniel.
Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hi. So you seem a little sleepy. I guess it's super early for you.
Yes, it's quite early, but it's good. It's always a pleasure to be here with you all.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have joined, so that's great. And sorry if we are doing it on a time that's not comfortable to you, because we do try to accommodate everyone. It's a Sunday again, and then a lot of people are from different countries, so we're sorry for that. Next time we'll try to accommodate those who woke up early, and then some of us have to wake up in the middle of the night. So let's start this. I'll start sharing my screen. So I also understand that there will be a lot of questions that will be answered during this call, but we do hope that in this 60 minutes, we have some time left where we can take your questions, and then we can also do some little Q&A, right? I think recording has been started, Daniel, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So welcome everybody to the club. And this is actually an invite-only meet. So we all consist of here the mentors and mentees who have been selected out of a lot of people that applied. Now, since as mentors or as mentees, you are going to represent the club at certain point. If you're going and talking to a mentee, you're representing the club. You're also representing the expertise that you have earned over the years, but at the same time, you're connected with the club. So it's extremely important for you to understand the vision of the club. The vision of the club has been evolving over some time now, and there has been this DNA of bringing educators, leaders, and learners together from around the globe. So that's something we have been able to achieve at this point until this point, and we'll be keep doing that by increasing diversity, bringing more different kinds of people from different domains into the club as well. Now, mission statement is also something I think a lot of you have heard from us. A lot of you have probably taken this presentation with me as well. So we do talk about our mission statements, and we are aggressive when we talk about them. I'll just try to reinstate in a very small amount of time, 3 or 4 minutes, the 4 pillars on which the MBA Club stands. One of them is to enable the youth to create significant social impact. So understanding that a lot of us are not social workers, or we don't own NGOs or work at NGOs, but many of us work in corporate and are managers. So how do you create social impact while working in corporate companies? Is through understanding that the culture of your company, wherever you're working, is inclusive enough and it's not exploiting any of your employees. And we do see in some industries, this is becoming a norm, that exploitation in sales or exploitation in by managers, it's becoming common, and it's becoming kind of a key to success. So that's something which we are aiming to change. So that's where the first point becomes very important for us as MBAs or managers or people who are looking to do management education. Second is empowering future generations to bring change and also to understand change, I will say, because there's no better time than now to talk about change when the world is going through such a huge change of working from home. Your team is not working from desks anymore, so you can't go on their desk and ask for something, right? People are working from home, so these teams you have to manage are working from remote places around the country, around the world. So how do you make sure that your management is as effective as it was 2 years, 3 years ago when this wasn't the norm? Change is a whole curriculum at some of the top Ivy League business schools, but it's also something that is not considered as important in some of the Indian business schools and some of the traditional business schools across Europe. So that's something that we are also looking at to bring as a skill for our managers, because this pandemic came as a surprise, but we all know that there are so many surprises that can come at any point, and that's why they're called surprises. So we have to just be ready for that. Third thing is emphasizing on the present. We all understand that the problems of today are very different from the problems of a decade or 2 decades ago. Today, it's a lot about technology. Whether you're going into product, whether you're going into management, you have to understand that your technical literacy is very important. In order to fill this gap, we also try to build some courses around data analytics for managers, data science for managers, those kinds of courses. And that's actually what we're talking about here when we're saying emphasizing on the present needs of managers. So the MBA curriculums do not change regularly, but we are just trying to fill that gap that you can have your MBA, but you can also have these skills which will make you more employable as a manager or as a management person. The last and one of the most important mission statements at the club is embodying the skills of a true leader for the modern world. This again is very much related to the third point that we have emphasizing on the present. So the leader today is very different from the leader we used to have 10 years ago. If you look at a decade ago, you might call Obama a leader or the prime minister of our country. But today, when you spend like 24 to, out of 24 hours, we spend 15 to 16 hours in front of television or in front of our desktops. We understand that technology has huge power in deciding how we take decisions or how we vote for a particular thing or how we buy something. So there are different kinds of leaders. There is organizational leadership, behavioral leadership that's coming into the picture. And that's what we are trying to do with building a course around diversity and inclusion and that kind of women leadership specifically as well. So this is a mission statement in a bubble. And I just hope that each one of you who represents the club at any level, whether you represent it at a college level or during your mentorship, make sure that we are aligning with the mission statements of the club.
Yeah.
If there is anything, we can always raise hands or unmute yourself. Now coming down to what we are here for, that is the mentorship program. This was a little bit of statistics that was also shared with you before. We had about 65 mentor applicants, 218 mentee applicants, and business schools that were represented from around the world are 73. Number of corporates represented in terms of people working at different companies were 34. Countries represented were 9. Cities represented were 93 around the world again. Now the selection ratio that we shared with you is around 30% this year. The number of mentees out of 218 were selected are 67 mentees, and the list has been shared with you, so you're aware of that. Mentors, we have decided on a number of around 31 to 32 mentors that we'll be going forward with, at least for this phase 1 of Platinum Mentorship Program. It's just a little stat. Now, as some more information around where do these mentees come from. So 9.7% of our mentees are working in product roles and are interested in taking mentorship in product. 29% of them are in consulting and are also interested in looking forward to different ways they can climb the corporate ladder in the consulting world. 3.2% is data analytics, 16% is finance. So finance is definitely something we looked at very carefully because we had mentors who were not a lot of them were from finance. So we looked into bringing more mentors from finance because that is a need we saw among our mentees. HR is 9.7%, so fair amount of people interested in human resources. Marketing again was a very huge bracket, 19.4%. But fortunately, we had a lot of mentors who were working in marketing from quite a lot of time. So there was a complete match there. So there was enough mentees, there were enough mentors. Operations again 12.9%. So there was enough amount of mentors in operations. So this is a little picture that you can see in terms of how the club looks at mentorship. We are not only talking about finance here because we are a MBA club, or we're not only looking at consulting or product. It's very wholesome, the picture, when you look at it. Okay, now this is something you might be waiting for, and this is something where you might want to find your name. We will also release these lists in a similar format or a PDF format on our LinkedIn. But I'll just tell you like how this matchmaking happened. It definitely took us a lot of time to understand and look at what are the requirements, personal requirements of our mentees. Mentees were definitely at the focus whenever we were thinking about matching, to be honest. So first, what we did is we put like our mentees in different buckets, and then we went on to our mentors, and then we put them in different buckets. And then when we realized that we were not having enough mentors, for example, in a bucket where we had a lot of mentees, we went back, we looked at our board members, advisory board members, and then we brought those people into the mentors panel. So we have enough people to cater to our mentees. So 90 to 95%, I will say that you should be really happy with your mentors, because we have definitely looked at exactly what you want. If you really want consulting, you have a consultant as your mentor. If you really wanted finance, there will be a person working in bank for 15 years as your mentor. If you're interested in marketing, then you have a marketing guru as your mentor, right? But we will definitely look into how to make it better. This is the phase 1. So we have tried our best. We took a lot of time. We involved a lot of senior people into doing this matchmaking as well. And now we are putting this to test. So everything that happens after this will help us understand how this actually went. I'll just look at the chat because I see some chats. Devanathan. Okay. So that's taken in note. Dishika, please note that Devanathan's name is spelled wrong. So we'll change it before we post it anywhere. Thank you, Devanathan. So this is the first slide. We have probably 3 slides around this. I will probably wait a little bit here as well. So in case you're looking for your name, you can have a look. Some of them should be familiar faces. I think Arun is quite vocal in the group. Ilan has been a board member at the club. Shan is a vice president at the club. Akash is quite active with her initiatives that we do videos and everything. Rahul, I am aware of. Anant is working as a VP at the club. I'll just move to the last page of the match. Here we have Yana. She's again a board member at the club. Varun, Marie, Prashant, Upali, Harit. Harit is a senior person as product who has worked with companies like Microsoft, etc. Ankit, Jeevan. So I hope you have found your name already, and we'll give you enough time to have a look thoroughly at this. Now, what is more important right now, once you have seen who is your mentor, is to understand how do we take it forward? What happens from this point, right? For that, what we have done is we tried to create a mentorship contract. Okay, this is a contract which will be legally binding as well, so that we can discuss it together. Obviously, there will be some things that I will not read to you, and this contract will be sent to you over your email. So you'll have enough time to read it for yourself and come back to us if you have any queries. We have a couple of corporate lawyers that work with us, so they have been put into creating this contract so that you are protected as mentees and mentors, and you get the most out of this mentorship program without getting into anything that you don't want to. So if we don't have any questions at this point, what I will do is I'll move on to the contract and we'll talk more about how this mentorship program is going to be conducted. I'll just give a little bit of pause here if you have any questions. Debaksh, we can hear you. So if you have any question, you can ask us. Okay, seems like there are no questions. So what I will do is I'll move on with the contract now. We have some people in the waiting room, Dashika, if you can bring them in. No worries, Debaksh. Okay. So this is the mentorship contract that you will be receiving over your email as well. And this is something that you should definitely have a good look at before you go forward with either being a mentee or a mentor at the club. Because this is important, just not for you, but the kind of people that will be associated with you as well. So the first clause that comes into the picture is confidentiality. I think we are all mature enough to understand, but this is one of the most important things. That's why it's on our first page, that all the information that is disclosed during mentoring sessions will be treated as confidential and will not be shared with any persons outside of the mentoring relationship without the mentee's prior consent, and vice versa. So if you have shared anything in your mentorship sessions, be assured that nothing of that will be shared out of the session. And if something of that sort happens, definitely that's a breach of contract and you can come to us. The legal team will handle that. But understand that you also have similar responsibility as mentees, that something, whatever is shared with you, if it's personal, keep it to yourself and make sure that this whole mentorship program is to help you with your personal and professional growth and nothing more than that, right? Nothing more than that, nothing less than that, but make sure that you are getting what you want out of it. There is a little more discussion and a little more explanation around it, so I'll leave you to read it by yourself. Now, length of mentoring relationship. The agreed length of this mentoring relationship is for minimum 8 sessions over a period of 3 months. So there is a minimum number of sessions that need to happen in a minimum period of 3 months. And that's the initial length of the mentoring relationship, after which both mentor and mentee will review the relationship and will confirm the way forward. So you can renew this contract, or you can come back to us that you want to terminate the contract depending on the relationship you have had in the first 3 months of your mentorship relationship, right? The length of a mentoring session will be maximum of 60 minutes, conducting as face-to-face, Skype, or phone sessions. So when we invited applications for mentors and mentees, we did ask you that, are you comfortable with video sessions or audio sessions? We have your preferences, but then this is also something that we have kept very personal to the mentor and mentee to decide if you want to do Skype conversations or if you want to have phone conversations, if you want your cameras on or off. So that's completely up to you. But we do recommend having some face-to-face conversation at least sometimes so you have a better connect with each other. I hope the length is pretty clear. Minimum is 3 months, and in 3 months, you have to at least do 8 sessions. You can distribute them as however you want. And I think you can have some good amount of sessions in the beginning, take a little bit of break so that you have some homework to do, and come back to your mentor and do some more sessions at the end of these 3 months. That's something that might be considered ideal for some of you. For the cancellation, and that also relates to the length as well, communication regarding cancellation will be shared at least 24 hours in advance to respect the time committed by both mentors and mentees. If the session is cancelled less than 24 hours before, the session is lost. So in case you scheduled a session with your mentor and you're not able to be at the call for whatever reason, you have to tell at least 24 hours in advance to your mentor that you will not be available on that call. It's always recommended to put the 5 and MBA Club's email into CC so that we are aware of your cancellations as well. If you do not cancel that session before 24 hours, then that session is gone, right? That session is counted in the minimum 8 sessions, whether you have attended or not. But because you didn't cancel at least 24 hours in advance, that time commitment of your mentor has already been there. So that session will be canceled and won't be able, will be counted in one of the 8 sessions. The location, definitely it's online, and mutually preferred medium for the mentee and mentor can be anything, Gmeet, Skype, Zoom, whatever you feel comfortable with. Now, the termination of mentorship clause here, we agree to have a conversation regarding the decision to exit the mentorship relationship. And if the need arises prior to the completion of all sessions, during the conversation, we will review the mentoring that has taken place, and the club reserves the right to terminate the mentoring agreement in case of any of the 4 happenings that are listed here, right? Now, these 4 points where we can interrupt and ask you questions or even terminate the mentorship relationship that you have are also very important, because If the mentee cancels 3 consecutive sessions, we will see that you don't feel too serious about the program, and there can be somebody else in your place who can take a lot of advantage from the program. The mentee is not showing up to the sessions at all or on time. If you do that continuously, you're not on time, or if you're not showing up without sending any emails, you're not telling us 24 hours in advance, definitely a termination is justified at that point. The mentee acting in an inappropriate manner towards the mentor or the 5-minute MBA club. So the code of conduct is going to be extremely important. And I think since we all are working professionals, we all study at MBA schools, business schools, we understand that behavior is going to be extremely important. You can call it attitude towards learning as well. Any kind of inappropriate behavior towards the mentor or mentee or the 5-minute MBA club, including our program team, admins, anybody, it can lead to the termination of the contract. Lastly, the mentee not having a clear objective for the sessions is also one of the reasons where we see that enough value is not being exchanged. So what we will recommend is also in the first session itself, get some clarity. What do you want out of this mentorship program, right? I think that's not very difficult. We usually, what we try to do is leave it to you. So if you think first call should be just chit chat, getting to know each other, works well. But it's very important to end it with understanding that where is your career right now? Where do you want it to be? And what kind of help do you require from a particular mentor, right? So in case you don't have that clear objective in the first 2, 3, 4 sessions, we will probably want somebody else to have that opportunity. Now here is where we also talk about the primary focus of the mentoring sessions so that we can help you understand that what is included, what is not. There's a raised hand. Just unmute yourself at this time and we can answer. Ehtisham, if I'm pronouncing your name correct, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, if it's a hand raised by mistake, it's fine, but otherwise you can always unmute and ask if you have a question. Okay. Now this is again something that you might want to know. What is included, what is not? So being very clear, we are doing this in contract itself. What is the primary focus of these mentoring sessions? So the mentee is free to discuss different areas of his or her life, limited to work, finances, health, business, education, and recreation with the mentor, right? So be very careful with what you discuss with your mentors and what you discuss with your mentees. There is the confidentiality clause in place, but we also don't want you to disclose very personal things which you might think that are putting you at a vulnerable position. So that's a very aware decision that you are taking as an individual. The primary focus of the session should be agreed upon in the first session upfront by the mentee and mentor. As I told you that the objective of this program, 3-month program, should be very clear in the first session itself. The mentee and mentor acknowledge that deciding how to handle these issues and implement choices is a responsibility of the mentee. So just have this conversation around it and make some choices and agree on them in the first few sessions itself. If you really want us to get involved, do write a mail to us that we are having some difficulty aligning ourselves or finding the right objective for ourselves. And then we will probably put somebody in that and we will look into it. We do have Yana who takes care of mentorship as a whole as well. So she will definitely come there and talk to both you and the mentor. But that you already have a mentor and that's a senior person already. So try to implement these choices on your own. The nature of mentoring is a big paragraph, I'll say. So do go through it by yourself. It's basically talking about how mentoring is different from psychological counseling. It's a lot about your career and professional growth and personal growth, but it definitely does not consider some help which a psychological counselor can provide. So be very careful about what you think is mentoring going to provide you, right? If you have any confusion, just go through this paragraph, which will give you a lot of clarity. This again is the extension of the previous clause. Limited liability, again, this is something that you should be looking at when you are having this contract. Now, this is one of the most important part of this contract, and it's not just a part of the contract, it's very important part of the mentorship program as well. What is your role, right? Now, we definitely talk about the role of mentor first because they are the one who are going to drive this whole initiative. And then we'll come back to the role of a mentee who is going to absorb all the knowledge that is being provided in these sessions. So the role of the mentor, if you're a mentor, make sure that you ask questions that result in you identifying new ways of thinking and explaining new approaches and options. Understand that your mentee has gone through a lot himself or herself as well, and they're coming to you to kind of listen to answers which are different, the approach of teaching which is different. So make sure that we are not giving mainstream advices. We're talking about what has worked for yourself, your personal experiences. Ask questions. Definitely, it always helps. If your mentee is a little bit shy or reserved, ask questions which are very relevant. Create a safe space that encourages exploration and openness, a space of non-judgment, to be honest, and strive to work with integrity. Now, this is a very heavy point we have here. You, as a mentor, definitely have instructor position, right? You are definitely at a place where the mentee is looking up to you. So it's a very big responsibility for you to create a safe space for them to being able to share and explore whatever choices they're trying to explore. It can be a personal exploration. It can also be a professional exploration. For example, they might not be very comfortable telling their parents that they want to become an entrepreneur because that might not be a safe space to, explore these ideas. But you as a mentor want them to have a safe space so they can explore these opportunities, these possibilities with you. At the same time, you should communicate openly and reflect back observations. Be very honest. If you're not happy with any kind of behavior, honestly, let it be, let it be known to your mentee as well. Make explicit observations of issues that are more opportunate and ideally explored by a counselor. So that's the particular clause that you should be looking at. There is no kind of therapy that can be replaced with mentorship. So be aware of that. You should be motivating and supporting and empower the mentee to make their own decisions and take their responsibility for their own actions and development. I think that's very important, taking responsibility. So that's something you should also motivate. Challenge yourself to face up to opportunities, problems, strengths, and weaknesses. So it's a challenging role to be a mentor as well. We're not just saying that you have to sit there and give advice. Challenge yourself. Think of new ways you can help these people, help your mentees, and help them understand things in a very different way. And maybe put your perspective up front and don't be shy about it. So that's challenging again because you're being vulnerable. Hold the focus of the sessions in line with the smart goals that you set. Focus is going to be very important. What we are trying to do is limit these to 60-minute sessions for the sake of saving time on both sides, at the same time creating as much value as we can create. So do not lose focus at any point during the session. It's very important to have some conversations to start to start this relationship, but it's also important to have that center point always in mind where you can help them grow in a professional and a personal setting. Support the growth of the mentee through sharing of appropriate thinking patterns, attitudes, and knowledge. Act as a gateway to other people and sources of knowledge and information. Definitely, resources is one thing that you will be asked for again and again. So you should be, open to provide them the resources they need to develop. Seek opportunities to help you practice and develop key skills for the future. Generate workable solutions together in a mutually respectful way. And lastly, agree actions and milestones during each meeting. So that's kind of a structure to your meeting that is recommended. You should always have some actions that are agreed to happen after the session, before the next session, kind of an homework that you might want to provide, and milestones that you want to achieve. 3 months is, I understand, not a lot of time. You have the opportunity to extend this relationship, considering that your mentor and you yourself are happy with this relationship. But I will still say that if you're able to achieve some small milestone in this period of 3 months, then definitely extension of 6 months will be helpful. If you're not able to achieve those small milestones, and do not set big milestones. So that's a big mistake that you might be doing right now with thinking about this mentorship program, that I'll be able to learn French by the end of 3 months. No, so you will not be speaking French like a French person after 3 months. You will. A good milestone is I'll be able to speak 300 sentences in French. So understand this kind of milestone setting, and that's what you should be doing in your mentorship sessions as well. Coming to the role of mentees, We have already talked a lot about how a mentee should take advantage of this program. Let's just reinstate all of them. Take responsibility for their own learning and development. Extremely important. As Indians or as school-going high school kids, we are always told that we can depend on people, but we cannot, and we are well aware of that at this point of life. You have to take responsibility for your own learning. All you will have is a little bit of guidance, assistance, but nobody is going to do it for you. So if you think that this program is not benefiting me at all, you might want to sit back and think that, is it me who is stopping myself from growing? Once you have that answer, then definitely I think your growth cannot be stopped. So because you are responsible for it a lot of times. So take guidance, but make sure that it's your responsibility as well. Be committed to the learning, actions, and commitments through the mentoring process. Be committed to spending time and reflection. Two very important things here. The more you read, the more you will understand this, that commitment is going to be very important. I have been part of some mentoring programs, and I've seen that people come back and after the first session, but it doesn't feel right. We don't connect at all. I don't think I can work with this person. This happens from both mentors and mentees. But what's missing there is commitment. We all know that we can learn one good thing from every single person on this call right now. 54 people can teach you 53 different things, right? But commitment is going to be very important. So be committed to the learning, actions, and commitments through the mentoring process, as much committed as you can, right?
Sir,
if you
but
feel
instead of using this, can we use waterfall chart? Better.
Waterfall chart for what? Ashutosh?
Okay, so entire के लिए waterfall. Okay.
Can you elaborate? Ashutosh, are you on another call or what? Okay. Cool. So commitment is extremely important, as you just saw. Probably that was a suggestion for another meeting, but it came here. So committed to spending time in reflection again. After your mentorship session, take 30 minutes or 15 minutes of time, not asking for a lot of time, and think about what has been told to you in the session and what are the action points after that. That's something that you should do a lot because working from home is extremely difficult. So after every meeting, you should actually write down some action points and do them as soon as possible before you go for lunch or dinner or spending some time outside with your friends. So spend some time in reflection. That's the only way to get advantage of any kind of mentorship. Take responsibility for decisions and actions taken. Be accountable to self. Be honest with self. Important things, very easy things to read, but make sure that after your first session, you're reading this again and ask yourself to do this throughout the mentorship. And I think many of you will come back to us and tell us that, we have gained this out of this program. So that's what I'm hoping. But that will require a lot of commitment from your side as well. Hold an understanding that adult learning is a process and involve changes, right? Be willing to articulate the assistance they need from their mentor in the context of the core program. We agree to terms and okay. So that's the whole thing. That's just putting everything in perspective here. So that's the end of the contract. And this will be sent to you over email as well. So I still recommend you to read this over by yourself again, and then only sign this so that we can start with the initial sessions. What we have in mind right now is we are planning to help you with the setting up of initial sessions as well. If you need some very specific help, come back to us, write a mail to us that this is a mentor that I'm assigned, or even a mentee that I'm assigned, and I'm not able to reach out to them, or their email is not working, whatever it might be the case. We will be sending you some official mails, which will also state the official start of the mentorship program. So that's when you have to start counting your minimum 8 sessions and the minimum amount of 3 months of time that you are going to spend with your mentors and mentees. Yeah, as Daniel has written in the chat, feel free to contact us at contact@thefoundmbaclub.com and put us in CC whenever you feel that my questions are not being answered, whether it be from mentee's point of view or a mentor's point of view. We are probably trying to be there for both of you. right? Because it's important for us, this program. It's a very big learning opportunity for us as well and for you as well. So it's going to be advantageous to all of us. Now, we spent around 40 minutes together. Yeah. So any questions, I think we'll be welcoming at this point, and then, yeah. Okay. Satinder, you have a question.
Yes, hi. Suppose after 8 sessions or 3 months, the program ends. How will you, as the CEO of the company, ensure that what is the learning of that mentee? Should they, put a presentation together or a kind of demo together so that you understand that one is okay. Suppose as a mentor, I, I mentored a team member, our team member. Then, kind of the degree of learning, or how will we explain that what are going to be the quality standards of the mentorship? Obviously, that you will be able to understand the best when you hear that from the mentees after the program. So I believe if there is a formal way, maybe a presentation or a demo or a use case that is explained by the mentee, that can help everybody understand and conclude it successfully, if I make sense.
Again, Satinder, great point. We will probably put it as a personal choice for mentors and mentees to do this as a presentation, because I talked to a number of mentors and some of them feel that it's very non-structured process. It should not have so much structure around it. It's not a course of 3 months where you end up presenting and you get a score. But if you think that's something how it should be, I will definitely ask you to talk to some of your mentees, and if they agree with it, that's probably one of the ways you should do mentorship. And it might be one way which works very well. So for that, what we are doing from our side to understand the quality of this mentorship program is we are doing some monthly checks. So Yana is probably on the call as well, and she has designed this program. So she'll be doing some monthly checks with randomly picking, let's say, 20 mentees, and she'll get on a call with them to understand how their progress has been and how they are giving feedback around the mentors they have been mentored by. At the same time, all the mentees will receive a feedback form to rate their mentorship experience with their mentor. At the same time, mentors will also receive a feedback form. So mentees will also be at some point kind of assessed, because after 3 months, when two people come to us and tell us, okay, we want to continue with the program, we want to look at the feedback that they have received. In case we haven't received like very good feedback, then we might want to consider some other people who can take their place and get more advantage out of the program, right? And feedback, we're not being very strict with the feedback, but if the feedback says that out of the 8 sessions you were not there in 3 sessions and you were always late, then definitely that's a kind of mentee or mentor who we might not find too much value in having at the club. But I like your presentation part as well. We are doing it for the courses that we are building, Satinder, but with mentorship we don't have that kind of structure.
I understand. Thank you.
Rahul, can I add something out here? What I wanted
Hi, Anamika, first of all.
Hi,
Yeah.
Rahul. How are you doing?
I'm good. Go on, please.
Okay. So, Rahul, what I felt is perhaps the monthly feedback, 360 degrees feedback, would be able to, kind of give a kind of sense, or it would rather make sense that whether the program is going well. So people at the back end, once they review it, they would see a pattern. So once you see that pattern in the second month, it would always, kind of give a trigger that whether it is, whether it is going in the desired way, or perhaps it needs some kind of change in the mentor-mentee relationship. I think by the second month you will get that very clearly with the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
completely agree with you, Anamika. And just to tell you, Anamika has trained a number of people. She has been one of the top 10 coaches in India. So she has a lot of mentoring experience. And I agree with you, Anamika. This is probably going to be a dynamic process. It's not going to be static. So I'm not planning to rest for next 3 months and sit down and see what's happening, because I understand that there will be a lot of commitment required from the club as well. So we definitely will do some changes. Whenever we think that there's a pattern, like a lot of people not appearing for the calls, a lot of people appearing on time for the calls. So if we want them to slow down a little bit, we might also want to do that. But yeah, definitely we are going to do that. And we'll need your help in that. So be ready to help us.
Sure, anytime.
Kronika has a question. What if we couldn't connect with mentors in sync? Can we change our mentors in the 3-month journey? Kronika, this is a kind of query which is also answered in the contract as well. I may not have read it, but the cancellation or termination of mentorship, that clause consists of this as well. If you're not happy with your mentor, first of all, ask yourself, have you committed completely to the process? Have you spent enough time understanding what your goals are? Are they aligned with what you're looking for in the calls and everything? If you if you still think, and if you think you can justify that to the club, we have a small committee, mentorship committee, which consists of some people, and then Yana is definitely a part of it. She is responsible for the whole program, so her decision almost remain final. So if you can justify that you need a change of mentor, things are not going fine, you don't find enough value, then we'll look into changing the mentor or finding a mentor who rightly matches you. Right, so we have that possibility, but you have to appear in front of a small committee and put your point forward and tell us why that change is required. Thanks for the question, Kranika. Very important question.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, Amrit, go on.
Yeah, so actually, I just saw that my mentor is Mr. David Cousins, and I saw his profile on LinkedIn. It's like pretty good, and he's a vice president at a Citizens Bank. So need to ask this thing that like he's based out there in US and I'm based out here in India. So like will he be he will be able to coordinate with all the things that I'm looking for like in the 500 MBA club? Because like I don't know things that when there are like even Mr. David would not be aware about the things that happens here in India. So like my main motive to be in the club is my career. Okay, so like I'm a first year MBA graduate, like a student at NMIMS Mumbai. So I'm looking out for my career, my management internships, my career goals. So would he be like a good mentor for me? Like need to ask this thing. Like I'll be scheduling a call with him. I'll be talking to him. But in case if I'm not comfortable with him, so like this is a thing I need to ask.
Well, it's partly answered first. If you think that it's never going to work, come back to us, justify. But again, Mridul, you already have prejudice in your mind that this is not going to work. Not a good.
No. I'm just I said that I'll be scheduling a call with him in case if I'm not here.
I remember your profile, Mridul, and I think David. So when I talk about David, he is one of our board members at the club. We have 11 board members. We had around 150 applicants from around the world. So it's a very selected panel. If you have received a board member, you are extremely lucky, in very clear words. David has worked with Indians for last 15 years. So he does these calls on a regular basis. Yeah. He is also part of our leadership course. So he's creating a course on leadership with the club where he actually talks about intercultural communication. So he has a number of clients in India. So don't worry about that.
In that case, I think I'll be good with them. Thank you.
So just believe in the process. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
All these doubts are valid, but let them get answered on their own, because the more you question, the more it feels like it's falling apart.
Okay.
Dibaksha, thank you, Mridul. I'm a mentee and seems like I'd benefit a lot in the upcoming weeks. I'm just curious if the mentors would get something out of this program as well. Okay. So Dibaksha, you are a mentee and you want to know if mentors are getting out of this. So mentors are getting everything that you give them on your calls. And I can answer this question, but Anamika, you can take it.
Yes,
you are a mentor.
Yes, I wanted to answer this because, there is always in a give and take relationship. If you think only the mentee is benefited, it's not the scenario. The mentor is equally benefited. I keep saying that when you start training people, you actually eventually learn much more than what you train, because you are spending so much time on developing yourself to stand up to that level. So definitely it's a win-win. Thank you.
Thanks, Anamika, for chipping in.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
Okay, the Baksha, it's the Baksha, it's not the Baksha. Sorry. If there are any other questions, please ask right away. Shivangi?
Yes. So in the beginning, you said that for the finance specializations, like there were a mentor, like there was less of mentors in here. So as I am from a finance specialization only, so the mentor allotted to me is the co-finance person.
It's difficult to answer with, I don't remember, but this again is a question like middle. You can definitely look at who is assigned to you. And then if you have asked for somebody from financial background, then I hope somebody from finance is, assigned to you. So that was a very honest revelation, because it's a small group of people at the club. So we did realize that when we were bucketing people in mentors and mentees, there were less people in finance in the mentors panel. And that was one of the reasons David was also brought to the panel, and then he was assigned some mentees. So David comes with a finance background. We have Josefina from finance background from Bank of America, but she is not a part of the panel. But in case, Shivangi, you still feel that this is not something which is bringing value to you, then definitely come and justify that point in front of the committee. We are definitely here to, make sure that this 3 months of experience is like more than just learning for you. So if that
Yes,
happens,
like,
come back.
I am not sure about the profile of my mentors. As I will see the profile, as you will share the LinkedIn link, I will definitely look into it. And I feel that a finance student getting a core finance mentor will be more beneficial. So that's why that was the only concern. Rest, let's wait for the time that the mentor gives the good suggestions to us.
The only suggestion I have here for you and for everybody else is just go on the first call, right? Sometimes we feel that the person does not have the exact profile that I want, but that is probably, a very ideal world that we are thinking of. Go on the first call, understand that they might not have professional experience in that particular field, but they may have so much personal experience. And I think Anamika is unmuted. She has something to say.
Yeah, Shivangi, can I add something out here? What I wanted to say was yes, not just first call, just I would say for a month, observe it for a month and then come back to us with your feedback. And if you are still uncomfortable, then perhaps we would, look for something. But don't have that mental block at the beginning of the, at the beginning of the session, because then you'll not be absorbing as much as you can, when you are satisfied. So it's just a suggestion. Just go with the flow of it. And if you feel that you really need to, discuss it with somebody who is more in depth into, or somebody who is fits the same domain, then perhaps that is a strategic call that could be taken by the management at the end of the first month. But give yourself 1 month. That is
Yes,
something
ma'am,
that I would
sure,
request.
yes, I'm sure, ma'am. Like this was like I should have simply asked for the mentor details. Yeah, that would help me and get more clarity. So that was the only thing which I was asking.
No, it's a wonderful question. I appreciate that. I'm just saying, just give yourself 1 month. That's
Yes, definitely, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Satyajit has asked, when will I get my mentor details? So Satyajit, we have this mentor match done already. We will be posting it on LinkedIn and we'll also send it over email. Okay. We are planning to send you some emails putting your mentors in CC. So that's probably where you have that opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much.
So just set up some timings with you, because it's going to be very difficult for us to do it on our part to understand your availability, the availability of your mentor, because some of them are in US, some are in Russia, Belgium, Malta, different parts of the world. So just align your timings with them, get on the first call, and I think that will get everything going. So we are putting that responsibility of setting up your calls on yourself and the mentors. Aritra, go on with the question.
Yeah, hi Rahul, and thank you for the insightful session. First of all, I would like to say that I'm really happy that I've been selected as a mentee for the program. And my question was that, elaborating on my selection, what I wanted to know in a bit more detail is what was the selection criteria behind like selecting us? Was it just our profile or the questionnaire that we filled, or a mixture of everything? Like I would like some clarity on that.
Right. So Satinder, the meeting is recorded, so no worries about that. And we'll share the recording. Aritra, you have asked us what was the selection criteria for mentees. Okay. So there are different criteria for mentees and mentors. The form that you received had about 12 to 13 questions, which is a lot of questions. And we received some feedbacks from some of our senior people at the club that nobody is going to fill that form because it consists of 12, 13 questions, which have a limit of 200 words. But that was curated by a team of whoever is a part of the mentorship program, and 218 people ended up filling the form, right? So we tried to look at every part of you. We tried to look at what you're doing currently, what is your drive to learn, because you have to have the drive to learn something from someone. A lot of us sometimes have that very dim. So if you're not at that place yet, we might not have selected you. If you're not really hungry for learning about particular thing about, let's say, trading, it's a big thing. You can do a lot into that. But if you're not, you don't have that drive, that you won't be getting too much out of this program. So that was definitely one thing. How you answer your questions. Are you hungry enough to get a mentor, which we will be providing you, and take that advantage in a short period of 3 months? Then we definitely also looked at the domain that you are aiming at. So if you're looking at HR, that's a bucket we can put in. If you're looking at finance, if you're looking at consulting, there is a bucket for that. Some of the mentees, it felt like they were looking for something that we as a club do not cater to. So that was again something that, kind of outliers. We definitely will want to consider those things for phase 2. But as a club, we also have a DNA that we are being very honest to. So if we don't cater to certain things, then we don't cater to them. So this was also one of the criteria. We have a document with the metrics where we decided, and everybody has been given certain scores, and then there was a final score, and then there was a filter done on an Excel sheet, and then the selection sheet came out, and Yana has all of that. That's obviously confidential. The metrics will evolve over time. We already know that 1 or 2 things need to be added there, 1 or 2 questions need to be changed in the Google form. But basically, this was a whole process. And I was not always there, so I don't have even, the idea of the whole process. But I think Yana and Anamika, Hema, they have been in the process. All of them are there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rahul, for the answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Aritra. We are almost at 60, at the mark of 60. If we have any final comments from anyone, that also works. If you don't have questions, and then we can close the call. Arun, you are with us. How are you?
I'm good, Rahul. So I'm pretty much sorted. And the only thing I would like to add is do not self-reject anything, because it's not just the financial or a domain specific thing that is there. There are a lot of things that you can learn from the mentors. They come with a lot of experience, and probably some of them would be charging $1,000 to $2,000 per hour for any consulting project. So I think you guys are very lucky that you are getting exposed to such prominent people. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Arun. Okay, we are
there is a
equally
small thing.
excited to get this going as well. Yeah.
There is a very small thing. To the lady who was talking about finance earlier, see the people generally who came into mentorship, whether even in finance, if they are working in financial risk management, or they are working in investment banking, or they are working in regular credit rating companies, right? They all started with the same base as you. So what they are doing is they are working in a part of as an application, but basically the start is just like you, and they have also learned and practiced a lot. I'm pretty sure they will be really great to mentor you, and even I think you will get some help in terms of the guidance in terms of your career as well, because many times we get inspired by somebody who is highly capable in some particular maybe technology or domain, and we try to follow his footsteps. We always have some or the other idol in some way in an organization. I believe this is a very, very good program. This is definitely going to help. For me, this is the future. I'm being very serious. I said that on the WhatsApp chat earlier. This is actually the future. I'm serious. Thank you.
Thank you, Satinder. And we just hope that, we are also able to cater in a similar way that, people have shown enthusiasm towards the club. So, and we are on the, we're at the end of this call. Daniel, will you have any closing statements? If you're here still. Okay. It was 6 in the morning for Daniel, so he might have dozed off. Okay. If we don't have any questions or any comments, we can just end this meeting, and there will be further communications, obviously. There will be this list of mentor-mentee match that will be shared by this evening. I'll try my best so that, if you don't have any more anxiety, you are aware of who is your mentor, connect with them on LinkedIn, look at their profiles, and look at any kind of synergies that you have. Great point to start in your first call. Have a good conversation with them. That's a very good start. And then we will also try to write some emails putting you in contact with your mentor. So initial introduction is something that we will do, and then you do your first call, second call, third call, and then come back to us with any queries that you have throughout the process. Abdul, if you have a question or a comment, you can unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good morning, and thanks a lot for the program. So I noticed from the list of the mentor-mentees that you showed in your slide that there are some of the, I think my own particular mentor has the same name with another mentor, so I wouldn't be able to differentiate from the two names who is going to be. So I would like you to take note of that, so that when you are sending out the list of the mentor-mentees, we can have their full name, so that we can be able to differentiate. So I think, yeah. Then aside that, I'm really excited about the program, and I really look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abdul, for bringing up this point. Also, the photos and the sheet are from LinkedIn. So, if that's a help to search for your mentors, then definitely. And yeah, the full name should be there. I'll take note of that. Okay. Great, guys. Let's not, take all of your Sunday. So have a good Sunday. Have a good weekend. And let's stay connected, and we'll keep you updated on that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you all. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, all of you.